Hello and thanks for joining us on Nationwide. I am Dennis Adegunloye. The federal government says it is prioritizing investment in the education of the girl child and sustaining efforts to reposition Nigeria's health system to meet the health needs of the populace, especially maternal care and contraception. Arrangements for the first census in Nigeria after 18 years are also on course. Olusheye Adeagbo reports on these, which were the fallout from the presentation of the 2024 State of the World Population Report by the United Nations Population Fund in Abuja.
The State of the World Population SWOP is an annual report picturing developments and trends in global population and demographics, shedding light on specific regions, countries, and identifying the unique challenges population groups face. The 2024 SWOP report highlights Nigeria's achievements in reducing maternal death rates by more than 11% between 2013 and 2018, though the rate is still put at over 1,047 per 100,000 live births.
Since 2016, the world has made no progress in saving women from preventable deaths during pregnancy and childbirth, and most of these deaths are indeed preventable. 1 woman in 4 cannot make her own healthcare decisions.
The global agreement is that no woman should die when giving life, and the government of Nigeria says it's fulfilling its own part of the agreement.
This is a great demand and a sense of duty of us all to keep that hope alive. We must fulfill the promises to accelerate actions in Nigeria and ensure no woman dies giving birth. We must ensure that girls stay in school.
This calls for a rethink on the best and smartest investment to undertake that will transform our numbers from quantity to quality for a peaceful and prosperous nation.
The 2024 State of the World Population SWOP report presentation is themed Interwoven Lives, Threads of Hope Ending Inequalities in Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights. In Abuja, Olusheye Adeagbo, NTA News.
And in an effort to achieve global health equity, Nigeria, in collaboration with the World Health Organization and other partners, has intensified efforts to combat malaria within its borders. Uche Ugochukwu reports that this was brought to the fore as the country celebrates its 24th World Malaria Day with the theme Accelerating the Fight Against Malaria for a More Equitable World. We'll get that report to you in the subsequency of this bulletin. In the meantime, I have joining me live now in the studio a consultant public health physician, Dr. Dan Gadzama, who will talk to us more on World Malaria Day. You're very welcome to our studios.
Thank you, sir.
All right, now, despite efforts of governments around the world, malaria is still quite prevalent. Why do you think this is so?
Yeah, so there are many factors responsible for that. Malaria has been with us for ages, but a lot of efforts have been made, and there's a substantial decrease in the incidence. However, we still have high incidence of malaria, particularly in Nigeria, which is responsible for over 27% of the global burden. Now, we have a lot of factors, like I earlier said, including climate change, which is affecting both creating resistance for the vector, that's the mosquito that's transmitting the organism, and then also increasing its survival rate in the environment. Also have issues around drug resistance, which has also been a very serious matter as far as malaria elimination is concerned. And the government has made efforts in order to address these issues. Currently, we have a strategic plan that try to, look at these factors. And currently, we have the National Malaria Elimination Program, which is the Federal Ministry of Health that is being the leader, while the states key into the strategic plan. And both the vector control mechanisms and then case management and environmental modifications. These are some of the efforts. Now, in terms of vector control, we have issues, interventions such as the use of treated mosquito nets. We have fumigations and aerial spray, which has not taken place yet, which is very capital intensive. But we have indoor residual spray, which is done in areas with high transmission of malaria. And we have seasonal malaria chemo prevention. This is done at the beginning of rainy season, where malaria transmission is usually very high. And its target group includes the children less than 5 years who are more vulnerable. And this is done monthly until the end of the rainy season. For FCT, for instance, we are beginning that in June, and we're ending the seasonal malaria chemo prevention in October. Then we have environmental sanitation, then community sensitization and mobilization on the environment, including the proper use of nets, and then prompt malaria diagnosis and treatment. Most people resort to use of self-medication, which of course increases resistance and poor treatment outcomes. So government is making effort as well to ensure that everybody have access to malaria treatment and prevention. Now, at the community level, even the chemist person, even at households, they've been trained on how to carry out what we call rapid diagnostic test for malaria. Now, the rapid diagnostic gives you instant result. If the person is positive, we have ACT-based combination therapy, which is being recommended based on the national policy for the treatment. And then we have other measures that the federal government is also making, especially the introduction of the pyromax, which is another drug that is far more effective than the ACT. This is to ensure that the resistance to ACT does not issue and then give us more problems. So these are some of the measures that currently the Nigerian government is putting in place.
All right. Okay, what would be your words of advice to the ordinary Nigerian in terms of what they can do to curb malaria? I understand that currently 27% global burden of all malaria is domiciled in Nigeria. What can ordinary Nigerians do to reduce this?
Yeah, so while the government is doing its own bit, but preventing malaria, it's individual responsibility. We make sure we call on Nigerians to ensure that we keep our environments clean. The gutters, there shouldn't be stagnant water around our houses. Empty containers, tires, and all that should be empty to prevent breeding of mosquitoes. Use of mosquito nets, and ensure that, please, once you have a fever, there are many causes of fever, so it's may not be necessarily malaria. So go to the nearest health facility, get tested and treated. By that, we'll prevent issues around resistance to the available drugs.
All right, many thanks for that. Dr. Dan Gadzama, consultant public health physician. It's been a pleasure having you on our program to discuss World Malaria Day with us, and certainly we hope that things will continue to improve as we go forward. Thank you very much. Now, President Tinubu has commenced engagements in the Netherlands, having been accorded quite a rousing welcome. Let's now join our State House correspondent, Musbao Damahab, for a live update on what has transpired so far. Musbao, it's over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Dennis. You have rightly used the correct word for this visit. It's been a rousing welcome and a very busy day for President Bola Tinubu right here in The Hague as he commenced a state visit today. He started by visiting the Prime Minister, who invited him to come over, and he went to the official residence of the Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, where was given a rousing welcome, a warm reception, and they went into bilateral talks to look at new areas of collaboration. You remember I said earlier that petroleum products has been the major export of the Netherlands into Nigeria, while Nigeria also exports some goods into this country. But now Nigeria, under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, is trying to look at some new areas, and Netherlands too is also looking towards the same direction. And among the new areas that they are looking at is agriculture, ICT, healthcare, and of course, they're also looking at marine and blue economy. All of those ministers involved accompanied the president to the official residence of the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, where they had that bilateral discussions. And afterwards, the president left the official residence and came over for the Nigeria-Dutch Business Forum, where the president met with or chaired an interface, a forum between Nigerian investors and then the Dutch investors to look at where and how to begin this process of collaborating and opening new vistas of opportunities that will take the relationship or the bilateral and trade relations between the two countries to the next level. And so we expect after the business forum that a communique will come up, and they are also looking at how to bring on board a joint bi-national commission that will be coordinating the affairs of the two countries when it comes to economic and other areas of collaboration. So in the end, we're looking for a productive outing for President Bola Tinubu here in the Netherlands.
When exactly are we expecting this forum to take place?
The forum is underway, like I'm talking to you now. It's underway, and after the president himself declared open the forum, the ministers involved talking about Minister of Industry, Trade and Investments, Doris Anite, Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, Minister of Power, Adelabu is here, and of course, Minister of Foreign Affairs, as well as a Minister of Marine and Blue Economy. They are also taking part in the conversations coming up here to look at how and which area they can collaborate and how to start it as a matter of urgency. And you remember President Bola Tinubu has always been telling the international community that Nigeria is now ready for business. At that forum, when he declared open the conference, he told the investors here that Nigeria is more than ever ready for business with any serious country of the world that is willing to collaborate with the country, and any bottlenecks on their way should be made available, should be made known to him, and is ready to address any of such.
All right, Musbao, many thanks for giving us that update. Now, registrars of universities have been told to see their duties beyond just heads of administration, but being responsible for ensuring industrial harmony always in the system. Former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Plateau State, Professor Dakas SAN, gave the advice at a workshop organized by registrars of Nigerian universities in conjunction with the National Open University of Nigeria. Speaking on a sustainable legal framework as panacea for industrial harmony in Nigerian university system, challenges and remedies, the legal luminary believes that the registrars are not custodians of academic documents, but are also responsible for interpreting the rules and carrying out their functions dispassionately among academic and non-academic staff.
Ensure that we have sustainable laws that will engender a regime of harmony in the university system. We need to make sure that as registrars, we rise to the occasion to discharge our responsibilities and ensure that we inspire confidence in the system.
We often misinterpret wages to mean a total compensation package. You can be given a high wage and the total compensation package is not there. It's when you leave that you discover that you were spending 35 years or 40 years doing absolutely nothing to take care of your retirement life. And who is the best positioned person in the university system to discuss total compensation? The registrars.
Close to 200 registrars from public universities in Nigeria attended the workshop. Prioritizing skills acquisition that can be commercialized together with degree certificates will not only be of benefit to individuals, but will also make Nigeria competitive and recognized globally, as well as enhancing sustainable growth and development. This is coming from an educational civil society organization, which also notes that inadequate skilled manpower contributes immensely to the large number of unemployed individuals in the country. The body added that acquisition of degree certificates has been a norm from ages, some with little or no idea of the basis of their courses of study, rendering them unemployable. Chairman of the organization, Paul Chukwuma, says they are ready to further partner with the federal government to roll out massive training programs for Nigerians to reduce emphasis on certificates.
The basic issue we have with our educational system is that the educational system we were introduced to, and to a very large extent will still carry and tag along with, is deficient in the key essential element that every human being should think of, and that is skill. So we prioritize paper qualification to skill. So that's why everybody wants to be a PhD or everybody wants to be a professor, even when you cannot defend that title.
He added that for Nigeria to be at par with other nations of the world, especially in digital technology, it is necessary to support youths and come up with tangible solutions to empower the upcoming generation. All right, let's now head to our Lagos Network Center, where Hingano is standing by for stories from that zone. Hello, Hingano.
Dennis. Experts are advocating new policies that will encourage girls to pursue education and careers in artificial intelligence. And this year's International Girls in ICT Day aims to ensure digital inclusion for female gender, which experts say is a move in the right direction. Adejoke Odeka has more on this.
It's often said that what a man can do, a woman can do better. But can the female gender truly identify with this saying in terms of digital space?
I don't think there are more girls. I think there are more boys pursuing careers in tech than the girls.
I think it's easy for women to get into tech because nowadays there are programs that are dedicated to women in tech. So yeah, it's easy. It's easy compared to before.
The entire world has gone digital, and as technology is a big part of human existence, girls and women are encouraged to get into the tech space and take advantage of the opportunities it brings from the early stages in order to bridge the gap between the female and male gender. Statistics from NBS shows that about 22% of women make up the total number of people in engineering, mathematics, science, and technology in the country. Experts say that underrepresentation of girls in the tech space should be addressed.
Less than 30%. Countries must make effort to change this narrative.
Seeing successful women in the tech space inspires younger girls to pursue similar paths.
This year's theme, Digital Skills for Life, which aims to encourage promotion of technological proficiency in girls around the world, ICT experts say shows the importance of girls in the world of technology.
First thing is policy advocacy. at various levels as a government, we need to ensure that we create policies that encourage or that makes it easy for girls to access development, career development opportunities in STEAM.
ICT experts are of the opinion that this would in turn raise role models in tech space that would also inspire incoming generation. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
Lagos State Government has officially unveiled Eco Cares, a comprehensive package for socio-economic interventions to reduce the current hardships occasioned by global economic crisis. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says the aggregate of measures are designed to ease the burden of vulnerable citizens within Lagos State. Thelma Eliogu reports.
Babajide Sanwo-Olu reiterated that Eco Cares is a testament that his administration will break all barriers to make life better for every Lagosian until the global economic decline gradually eases off. The Lagos State Social Intervention Program, aimed at nurturing homes and empowering lives, entails running of medical outfits in all senatorial districts for easy access to qualitative healthcare, support and counseling. Onje Eco markets for 25% discounted prices on food items, red and blue rails for better transport services, as well as agricultural products.
The objective is for us to be able to ensure that food is not one of the issues that will continue to challenge the vulnerable in our society.
The governor commended President Bola Tinubu for his interventions to bring succor to Nigerians through the distribution of grains to states, among other initiatives, stressing that this would eliminate the challenge of food scarcity.
You can begin to see that even the tides are turning, right? And the tides are turning positively. And so that's why we need to also commend the intervention from Mr. President.
Our own as members of the committee is to ensure that those who are to benefit from this process, we do.
We want it to get to the families that need it as soon as possible. Otherwise, it defeats the essence of the intervention.
Nigerians should begin to ask for good governance. We are the ones that elected them into office.
The food items will be distributed through community leaders, religious organizations, trade unions, youth organizations, and people with disabilities clusters. In Lagos, Thelma Eliok, NTA News.
That's it from here. Nationwide continues after this break.
The First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, is aligning with the vision and aspiration of the administration of President Bola Tinubu, GCFR, and is organizing the Every Home a Garden competition. The competition is under the scope of agriculture of the Renewed Hope Initiative. For the competition, women are encouraged to immediately plant a garden at home, such that the harvest can provide adequate food on their table and enough to give their neighbor. This competition is open to only women. She must be a first-time farmer. The garden must be in her home, and it is open to women in every state of the Federation and the FCT. Interested participants should do a 30-second video and a picture of the garden, which indicates its location, to the office of the First Ladies of their various states. The winner of this competition will be announced in December 2024, and the winner of the competition goes home with 20 million naira. Women, join the train. Be part of the food revolution in Nigeria. What are you waiting for? Let's get to work. This message is by the Renewed Hope Initiative, RHI, an initiative of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON.
The National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, in partnership with Breed Custard, a policy advisory, strategic communications and government relations firm, cordially invites stakeholders in the mining industry to a 2-day National Stakeholders Roundtable with the theme Sustainable Development of the Mining Industry in Nigeria. Date 29th and 30th of April 2024. Venue Abuja Continental Hotel, former Sheraton. Time 10 a.m. daily. The roundtable will be declared open by His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Guests of honor, host governors of states where mining activities are currently being carried out, invited honorable ministers as well as key private sector players in the mining industry. Announcer Professor Ayo Omotayo, Director General, CEO, National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies.
Guess what's back on your screens? Family Feud Nigeria Season 2.
Family Feud, we don't come away.
entertainment is over the top.
I'm elevating story, not to victory. This silly chick is not to beat me down my wit, oh man.
And the families are ready to slug it out.
I really hate my dad, friend.
With the prize money doubled to 5 million naira. Be prepared for double the fun and excitement. Catch Family Feud Nigeria on
effective service delivery. Quick intervention for progress and development in all sectors remain a recurring desire of Nigerians. To bridge these gaps and accelerate improvement in the people's living conditions, President Bola Tinubu hit the ground running, signing performance bonds with the administration's foot soldiers. Reshaping democracy debuts on NTA, putting 8 presidential priority areas on the implementers on a scale, holding MDAs accountable. Keep a date with the NTA every Tuesday at 10:05 in the evening as we assess government's performance and reshape the nation's democracy.
this Saturday. Manchester United.
Masaka available. Menu. It's a great effort. What a goal!
Burnley.
Udabert. Fofana!
Manchester United versus Burnley. Saturday, live on Sporty TV.
SportyBet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
Good evening and welcome to Sokoto on Nationwide. The Vice President Kashim Shettima in September last year flagged off the distribution of palliative worth more than 5 billion naira in Sokoto State as part of efforts by the federal government to ameliorate the effects of fuel subsidy removal in the country. Sokoto State government thereafter keyed into the initiative to complement the efforts of bringing succor to the people. Datat Abdullahi takes a look at the impact of these palliatives on lives of the citizens.
On the 10th of September last year, Vice President Kashim Shettima, while commissioning other projects to mark 100 days in office of Governor Ahmed Aliyu of Sokoto State, flagged off the distribution of 44,000 bags of maize facilitated by the federal government. The state government subsequently keyed in by declaring state of emergency on food security that led to the purchase of 57,000 bags of rice, 26,000 bags of millet, and committees set up to distribute the items free to the 23 local government areas of Sokoto State.
The federal government distributed to states. Sokoto State is part of the federation, and therefore Sokoto State receives its own, which it has already started. The palliative in Sokoto is an activity which has already been undertaken by the state government.
The federal government's gesture was the catalyst for the Sokoto State government to continue to provide such support to the vulnerable groups, including religious leaders across the state.
We hope they will appreciate the gesture by continue praying for the nation, praying for the security in the state, and also praying for the government for God guidance.
Another intervention is the Ramadan package to bring succor to the less privileged during the months of Ramadan. A total of 6.7 billion naira was earmarked for the package. How effective are these measures by the 3 tiers of government in addressing the hardships occasioned by the fuel subsidy removal and the attendant hike in the prices of commodities?
Any support that is given to vulnerable people, it is certainly going to help them. It is good.
We expect that at least the people, the poor and the needy have really experienced succor with this support by the federal government and state government.
Although the federal government palliatives cannot go around every home, it has impacted positively on the lives of many by reducing the burden of high cost of living and soaring prices of commodities. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Sokoto State government has provided 150 million naira counterpart funding and another 50 million naira grant for the smooth take-off of the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment, AGIL, to revamp girl child education in the state. To this end, the State Steering Committee has, at its inaugural meeting, brainstormed ideas that will ensure successful implementation of the project. Bashir Ibrahim Nababa reports.
The Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Project is a federal government program with the support of the World Bank that seeks to improve secondary education opportunities for adolescent girls in Sokoto and other selected states in northern Nigeria. At this steering committee's inaugural meetings, Sokoto State Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Muhammad Tukur Al-Ghali, reaffirms government commitment in turning around fortunes of girl child education in the state.
And even the 2024 budget, we got the highest amount allocated to education. So this means he's 100% committed in transforming education.
The project consists of 3 components that include creating safe and accessible learning spaces, fostering and enabling environment for girls, and project management and system strengthening.
The project will renovate schools in Sokoto State, girls and mixed schools, and also it will provide wash facility support to all the schools in Sokoto State.
Director Planning, Research and Statistics, Sokoto State Ministry of Education, Abdullahi Marapa, made presentation on the current situation of education in Sokoto State and how the Agile project will assist in changing the narratives. Stakeholders commended foresight of the Sokoto State government for keying into the project and called on everyone to lend their support to the program to fast-track educational development in Sokoto State. From Sokoto, Bashir Ibrahim Nababa, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Dennis in Abuja for the continuation of the news.
Now let's talk environmental matters. Kwara State is one of the flood-high-prone risk states in Nigeria, and it has been listed as most prone to flooding this year. One of the steps taken by the federal government to mitigate the dangers is to initiate the dredging of the Asa River, a major watercourse traversing Ilorin, the state capital, which usually overflows its banks during the rainy season. Shola Wahid reports that the dredging that commenced over 10 years ago is yet to be completed.
The river in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, is the major river that traverses the city and divides the metropolitan area into east and west. The river often overflows its banks whenever there is much rainwater and causes damages which impact negatively on lives and property.
We're not able to sleep. All our things are already spoiled.
To mitigate the impact of havoc caused by flood, the federal government commenced the dredging and channelization of the river over 10 years ago.
For the project to be slow, there must be reasons, either from the part of the contractor or from the part of the client. And what I believe is that you find out that most of these small jobs, they are not being given to the foreigners. It's we local professionals and the contractor that they dedicate that one to. And at the end of the day, the rate at which the contractors are giving might not be more feasible.
With the project yet to be completed over a decade after its commencement, the state government is now collaborating with the federal government to ensure that the project is actualized. Some residents expressed their desires for a quick completion of the dredging project.
I just want to urge the government agency directly in charge to hasten up with the dredging and every other thing that needed to be done, so that the community will not continue to suffer losses.
The second phase of the Asa River dredging commenced in February 2021 in Ilorin. Shola Wahid, NTA News.
And Shola joins me now live from one of the dredging sites to give us an update on the exercise. Shola, you mentioned that this project has been going on for upwards of 10 years. What have you found out about why the delay and what can be expected going forward?
Oh, thank you very much, Dennis. As you can see, we are at the Asa River in Unity area of Ilorin. As I said, the dredging has been on for about 10 years or even more. Successive governments have tried to do their best by dredging the river. But up to this present moment, as you can see, there is the dredging machine over there. There's the dredging machine over there. It was working some few months ago, let's say last month in particular, but all of a sudden before the Easter celebration, work stopped. And rain has started here in Ilorin. We can see behind me here is the channel of the river. The water level has increased and sands are already filling up. Now, the moment there is more water, more heavy rain, the fear of dredging that is not being done will make water to overflow. And as usual, residents in this area will be let out of their building, especially the building by my right-hand side, and those around in the neighborhood. Whenever there is increase in water, everyone vacates their buildings. So the situation now is that the contractors are not on ground as we speak, and we need to get them back on site so that the dredging work can start because the rain has started falling.
Okay, Shola, many thanks for that update. Surely we hope that this dredging exercise can be completed soonest before the rains really do come in earnest. Thank you, Shola.
Thank you.
All right, let's...
Welcome to Port Harcourt. In support of the Renewed Hope initiative of the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluwemi Tinubu, wife of the River State Governor, Lady Valerie Fubara, has presented 50,000 exercise books to public schools in River State. While making the presentation, Lady Fubara said education is pivotal to the development of the society. Osnati Samuel's report is here presented from us.
While acknowledging the valuable programs of Renewed Hope initiative of the wife of the president, Senator Remi Tinubu, in the states, Lady Fubara emphasized that the provision of the books is to support education of school children in the states, stressing that the initiative had earlier empowered the elderly in River States.
This event is quite significant and dear to our state, as education is one of the cardinal pillars of the administration of our governor. So it is gratifying that children are the prime beneficiaries of this particular scheme.
Commissioner for Education, Professor Chinedu Mon, appreciated the initiative and Lady Valerie Fubara for the commitment at ensuring the books are donated to children across the states.
On behalf of the Ministry of Education, of which the SUBEB is part of, and the Secondary Schools Board, we say thank you for this wonderful initiative. So this wonderful gesture will in no small measure help to cushion the burden in which parents bear in taking their children to school.
I'm thanking the wife of the governor for this great privilege she's given to us. May God bless her, may God make her prosper more, in Jesus' name.
Here in my hand I have with me books and bag also. I ask that God will continue to bless her, keep her alive for what she has done for us.
Renewed Hope initiative is a pet project of the First Lady of Nigeria, domiciled in the 36 states of the Federation, with the aim of uplifting the less privileged, especially women and children.
Many patients with neglected tropical diseases across River State now have access to free medical care following the intervention of River State government in partnership with Christian Blind Mission CBM. Kingsley Amajiri visited Kelsey Harrison Hospital, venue of the free medical outreach, and now reports.
River State was chosen after a nationwide mapping as one of the endemic areas for neglected tropical diseases. The state government and CBM are working together through this medical outreach to address this health concern. From general health examination to drug administration and surgeries, the key objective is to provide free support services to patients suffering from river blindness, elephantiasis, hydrosis, among other neglected tropical diseases. Mr. Friday Wobodo has lived with two of these neglected medical conditions for over 15 years. This free medical outreach is a blessing to him alongside others who hitherto were unable to afford the medical bill. Chief Medical Director, River State Hospital Management Board, Dr. Bright Ubonda, says the state government intention is to open up access to health care to those who are unable to afford it and other less privileged members of the society. Given the high rate of turnout, the managers of the program say it will hold the medical outreach until those who have registered are administered medical services. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
And that's our bit from Port Harcourt. The news will continue in Kaduna right after the break. Stay tuned.
The 3 days training of Sharia court judges on the successful implementation of the Kaduna State Child Welfare and Protection Law has ended with a renewed commitment by the judges to ensure the right of the child is adequately protected in their respective courtrooms. The report. The Sharia court judges had spent about 3 days here receiving training on how to handle cases involving children to ensure the protection of their rights under the Kaduna State Child Welfare Protection Law. The 3 days training has given them the opportunity to be empowered with the needed knowledge to resolve issues, particularly the root cause of the problem, which in most cases are the complex family disputes.
We learned about the protection of child welfare and child protection, and we learned so much like about the abuse of children abuse, and we learned how can we protect the child.
Kaduna State, where we are confronted with the challenge of so many children on the street, it becomes important that people that are working in the Sharia court are given the skills of how to handle children cases, children that are in contact with the law, like children that are abandoned, children that are moving around without any guidance, and issues of marriage and divorce.
It is expected that the Sharia court judges will go back to their various courtrooms and implement what they learned for good 3 days. Agricultural researchers in Nigeria are putting in more efforts towards achieving excellence agricultural research and technology innovation for sustainable economic growth. The researchers have held a review meeting at the Institute for Agricultural Research in Zaria to adopt new strategies of conducting research. Haruna Muhammad reports.
The research review and planning meeting acknowledged that research remains the catalyst that impacts positively in the lives of its citizenry through technological development to compete favorably in the Committee of Nations. The Executive Director, Institute for Agricultural Research, Professor Adamu Yusuf, says the Research Institute is focusing on 200 new research projects this farming season geared towards lifting Nigerian farmers out of poverty and ensure economic sustainability.
We have the farming system research, we have the biotechnology research program, we have the legume and oilseed crop research, we have cotton research program. So the scientists, the program leaders will be making presentations.
Other stakeholders at the meeting advocate for cutting-edge research endeavors and impactful intervention for the advancement of the agricultural sector.
Research and extension are inseparable. There is no way any country can transform agriculture without transforming research and extension.
The Institute of Agricultural Research has actually done this and is doing more, and with the Mr. President's agenda on food, on agriculture and food security.
At the end of the 2-day meeting, participants are expected to make suggestions and plan research projects that will enable farmers produce sufficient food and consequently contribute to the nation's food security drive of the renewed hope agenda of the present administration. Haruna Muhammad, NTA News.
And that's our contributions from Kaduna. Back to Dennis in our Abuja studio.
Mohamed Marajingi, many thanks. Now, in a bid to clamp down on financial crimes and other market misconduct, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is set to enforce the existing requirements that all transactions from point-of-sale channels in Nigeria must go through a licensed payments terminal service aggregator, PTSA. Benny Adams tells us more.
The move by CBN is aimed at tracking all electronic transactions given the tendency of such transactions for insecurity, crime, banditry and kidnapping, among other national interests. The Apex Bank has therefore awarded the country's second payment terminal service aggregator license to Nigeria's premier financial technology company, Unified Payments, after a rigorous process. This, the CBN believes, addresses concerns about channeling all transactions through a single aggregator, the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, which had been the case for some time. With the new policy direction, payment service providers would henceforth route all transactions through either of the two licensed companies. Reacting to the development, industry players commend the central bank, affirming that the move is a huge step in the right direction. They also commend the open, transparent and inclusive manner through which the selection process was managed and the license awarded. The Unified Payment Service Limited, also called Unified Payments or UP, is the first and only known bank entity that is a principal member and license acquirer of all of American Express, MasterCard, Visa, Union Pay, among others. Unified Payments facilitates both local and international transactions. The shareholders of Unified Payments are First Bank, Access Bank, United Bank for Africa, Guarantee Trust Bank, Zenith Bank, and Fidelity Bank. Other shareholders are Citibank Nigeria Limited, Eco Bank of Nigeria, First City Monumental Bank, Keystone Bank, Polaris Bank, Stanbic IBTC Bank, Starling Bank, and Wema.
The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, has diverted all flight operations from Terminal 1 of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport to the D-Wing due to a fire outbreak. Director, Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, FAN Obiageli Ora, says smoke was detected blowing from the E54 bridge around 5:30 a.m., which prompted engineers at the airport to disconnect power from the entire E-wing, but this degenerated into a fire outbreak. FAN says, in collaboration with the Airport Rescue and Firefighting Services team, the situation was brought under control and order has been restored to the airport. The agency regrets the inconvenience this might have caused to passengers and assures them that flight operations remain unhindered. Family, friends and well-wishers have converged on Abuja to honor late Justice Teresa Ngolika Orji Abadwa, former presiding justice of the appeal courts, who passed away recently. A valedictory session held by the associates described her as a legal luminary whose wisdom, integrity and dedication to justice have no doubt left an indelible mark on the nation's judiciary. Omenka Amarachuku reports.
Ngolika Orji Abadwa, described as a woman of honor who have contributed greatly to the pursuit of justice, equity, fairness and integrity. She was celebrated for her passion in shaping legal precedents. Friends say she will be remembered for her many landmark judgments, some of which are the case between NTA versus Abubakar in 2001 and the illustrative judgment of the Onoha versus Onoha in 2019.
When there are allegations of corruption everywhere, she was one of those that we can raise our hand and say, this one. Like very few of them, or very many of them in the whole judiciary, who are not corrupt.
Priest, our colleague, wife, mother, and friend, all of which attributes distinguished her as a person and a woman.
Her keen and brilliant insights into legal matters earned her the respect and admiration of her peers, colleagues.
Late Justice Ngolika Orji Abadwa, known for her unique style, positively contributed to the promotion in the justice sector, left behind legacies to be emulated by friends and family.
Was I know my wife to be a very disciplined judge.
Was a person, a human being, whose heart you could always see. She was a person who had the spirit of God.
Late Justice Teresa Abadwa died at the age of 64. In Abuja, Umenka Marachuku, NTA News.
And sports updates is next.
In view of their recent exploits at the 13th African Games in Ghana and the African Scrabble Championship in Lusaka, Zambia, President of the Nigerian Scrabble Federation, Choke Aka, is soliciting the partnership of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, to introduce Scrabble game as a sport in corporate organizations and schools in Nigeria, asserting that this would help improve mental health and could influence the quality of written and spoken English in Nigeria.
Could approach TCN and introduce to them what we call the team building challenge for them to inculcate amongst their staff and start a Scrabble championship amongst staff. Thereafter, we can now look at ways to partner with TCN on a broader scale where we take Scrabble either to the secondary schools, to the universities, or to the different clubhouses all over Nigeria.
To football, Edo Queens has secured the Super 6 ticket of the Nigerian Women Football League Premiership (NWFL) after an electrifying game at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Delta State. The team picked an away point against the defending champions Delta Queens, finishing the match with a 1-0 draw. With their qualification for the Super 6, Edo Queens are now contenders to win the league. The Super 6 tournament will be a crucial test for their abilities and a chance for the Benin-based ladies to claim the top honor in Nigerian women's football for the first time. In the English Premier League, Everton secured its Premier League status following a 2-0 win and ending Liverpool's title chase. Manchester United boosted their European qualification aspirations after twice recovering from a goal down to claim a hard-fought 4-2 victory over Sheffield United. In other matches, Wolves lost 0-1 at home to Bournemouth, while Crystal Palace thrashed Newcastle 2-0. For Sports Update, Bright Ebuchu, NTA News.
And Sports Update concludes Nationwide. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunloye.